Hello students. Today we're going to be talking about soils and some soil issues, and we have the shovel of science here, and we're going to try to figure some things out. Now, behind me here you see some ruts, some tracks where vehicles have gone through this little cut here. Now you'll see that the vegetation is missing in those tire ruts. Now, why is that, you may ask? Now, the first and most obvious thing is, well, maybe the cars have gone over it, or trucks have gone over it, and it killed the plants there. And that would be very easy, but if that were the case, then they would grow back almost immediately, within a couple of weeks, particularly in this Texas summer with these long growing seasons. But that's not what's happening. Why isn't it growing back? Vehicles aren't out here all the time, and we may have the answer right here. Okay, why is that bare dirt, but this over here has got plants, and this over here has got plants, but right here in these tire ruts there are no plants at all, even in this long growing season? Okay, even where there's hardly any traffic. And the answer is soil compaction. So let's take a look right here. We've got plants right here in the middle, plants on the side, and not plants here. And what has happened here, notice that shovel won't even go down in that stuff at all. And then if I was to come over here, everything looks completely different. Ooh, and you can even hear the difference. Let's try it again over here. Okay, it sounds like it's almost hitting rock. And it's split apart, it's dry, you see, there's no roots going through there at all. Let's see if I can even get the shovel to go down in here. Let's try that again. Hardly at all, even with 200 pounds jumping on it. Okay, let's see what we have. Here, you can even see the compacted layer right there. You see how it's this top inch or so is completely compacted into, it's fracturing off almost like rock, okay? But below that is compacted as well. That's quite solid. That's quite, like I can't even break it, okay? Now you see there is no air holes in that at all. There's no porosity going, there's no roots going through there, there's no soil organisms, there's no earthworms, ants, nothing living in that compacted soil. So what is happening here is these heavy vehicles are moving over this track, and they're creating a line of compacted soil, and you see that nothing is able to live in that. Why not? It's soil, still soil, but why not a compacted soil? The answer to this has got a lot of factors to it. Soil is supposed to have a lot of porosity. It's supposed to be very loose in texture. So let's go over here. Let's see what happens here when I jump on it. Oh, straight down. That went 6 or 8 inches down immediately. Now look at the soil. See, it crumbles. You just break it apart easily. It's softer and spongy. It's got roots through it. You got all these air holes going through it there that you can see all in that. Hopefully you can see that. Let's get it up in the light. Now, you see that? Oh, there's an earthworm right there. That proves the point, okay? So this, roots going through here, earthworms going through here, ants, other soil organisms, has created all these air pockets and these fissures and breaks, and has made this soil texture completely different. I'll put you back in your home, little earthworm. And so this texture is the same place. I'm only 4 feet from where I showed you that compacted soil. Okay, and you can see it's just easy as can be. Looks different, feels different. It's much softer. Water is able to get down in here. Air is able to get down in here, and plants do need air. All these roots that you see here need air. They're not green. They're not doing photosynthesis. They're respirating just like I am. They need oxygen, and they give off CO2. This is living cells, okay? So this plant's roots, its Leaves do photosynthesis and take in CO2 and give off oxygen, but that's not true of the roots. The roots got to breathe just like you and me. So there has to be air pockets and everything down in the soil. When we compact the soil, like we saw right here, then there is none of that. Those, I'm gonna reach down this crack if I can even break it off. See, there is none of that happening. There is no water getting down in here through this hard layer. It's just either gonna sit or run off, one or the other, okay? The texture is totally different. That's hard as a rock, and nothing can get through that stuff, okay? My little earthworm friend that I got over there, he can't get through this stuff because he's just an earthworm. Ants and plant roots can't be burrowing through that. And why would they? There's no water in this anyway. It's not even damp or moist. It's totally dry. Because water either just sits here and evaporates or it runs off, one or the other. Now you can get ruts where water will sit in it, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But this is an area of compacted soil right here. Now this is a relatively minor problem. We'll take a look at a bigger problem in just a second. But you see already, you see for yourself firsthand, you can hear the difference, see the difference, feel the difference, everything. You can see that there's no moisture in that, no organisms in that, no roots in that, nothing. Now, what happens when these problems get a little bit worse? Let's go take a look at it. Okay, so we are at now a different location, same general area, same soil type, but what's been out here is heavy machinery, okay? All right, now if you look, you can see from the damage here, this is a bulldozer or something like a bobcat dozer, a small bulldozer, but either way, this is heavy machinery that's doing this. And you can see right here, let's go down this dirt road that they've been going down. And no one has been down this road for close to a year because they've had that fence up over there. So I know that nobody's been down here for quite some time. So you can see it's much more compacted, much more soil damaged here. Now, we've got a low spot here where water is going to collect. And I know water is going to collect because look, let's see what happens. 200 pounds jumping on it. Almost bent the shovel right there. And we'll go right here, off the track a little bit. Let's see what happens. I bet it goes all the way down. Halfway down, immediately, okay? And you see that soil is not compacted. Dark, rich looking, lots of organic matter, a lot of plant roots. You can see these big open spaces, big pores in it. And it just cracks and crumbles in your hand, nice and easy, nice and soft and spongy. It's moist, I can feel the moisture in my hand. It's malleable, okay? See all the different little air spaces in there. A little earthworm friend of ours, I won't put him back. Another earthworm there. Earthworms are incredibly important, okay? So, what about spots like this then? You say, Rainey, water, you said water runs right off of it. What about here? Water's going to collect here. And eventually these are going to form these huge ruts that are super muddy. They fill up with water. Now, that's either, that muddy water is going to run off and cause turbidity problems somewhere, or it's just going to sit here. Why would that be a problem? Because eventually people get tired of sinking and getting stuck. And then they build another road. They're going to go around it somewhere and compact some more soil. That's the problem with rutting. That's the problem with these spots that form these mud holes, is that you can't get trucks down them. Eventually you get a bulldozer stuck out here or a bobcat stuck out here, and then you almost can't pull it out unless you got something even bigger and heavier. What happens if you get it stuck? So people go, you know what, let's just drive around it, make ourselves another road. And that has happened over here in some places. Let's see if we can find it. So even these wide spots, people started going around it over here. See right there, it's widening out, and that's because people are going around these mud holes in these heavy machinery. See, like right here, perfect example. This became a mud hole, so then they started driving over here. And that just expands the problem, just makes the problem worse. It just spreads the problem out and continues the problem on. It's like dominoes, right? Once a muddy track like this gets completely compacted, becomes a problem, then people just move that problem somewhere else and continue doing it. A great majority, or I wouldn't say a great majority, a large portion of the turbidity and runoff problems that are experienced in wildland areas, national parks, forests, state forests, and so on, are from dirt roads, okay? Because of the soil compaction issue. Furthermore, these hard surfaces, what we call impervious surfaces, like concrete, asphalt, and compacted soil, then it stops all groundwater recharge and destroys the soil texture. That causes all sorts of problems. It's a double whammy. So not only have you created a scar in the world with all this vehicle traffic, then that spreads, by the way, which is by the process that I just explained of how people go around it, just make new tracks. Then, so you've got all the erosion and turbidity issues and everything else, and you've made this big scar all the way through a wildland of unusable soil, unusable by plants, unusable by animals. It's essentially dead soil. This problem is so pervasive that even the old wagon ruts from westward expansion headed to California, then you can still see those wagon ruts even today because the soil is that compacted from heavy wagons on little thin wheels. And these super deep ruts, they're still there because it takes an immense amount of time for the wildlands to heal from these scars and damages. This soil, there's nothing out here repairing this soil behind me that we just looked at. There's no one coming to repair it. There's no mitigation, there's no reclamation going on. To mitigate is to try to lessen the problem from happening. That's what to mitigate means, or mitigation. Reclamation, or to reclaim, is to actually fix the problem itself. That's not happening out here, and it's not happening on the vast majority of dirt roads, dirt tracks across wildland areas. The problem just stays and stays and stays. And it may be 10 years, might be 50, might be 100, might be 200 years before the wildlands are able to heal themselves. The longer, it takes longer, the colder it is or the drier it is. And so you might expect places like the tundra, where it is both very cold and very dry, may take hundreds of years to ever recover from from just a truck driving across it. That's how bad this is.